morning, PotCoins. Today is Sunday, 21 June 2015. We are currently on block 854278 of the Pot chain. Here's what's been going on this week. $13,000 merchants in Canada can now accept Popcoin. New Note Financial is a company based out of Vancouver, and they're working with Coin Payments, CoinTrader, and ShapeShift to settle crypto payments in Canadian dollars. New Note is supporting 55 different cryptos, with Popcoin obviously being the most important. Okay, not really, but this is still great news for all cryptos. The ability for merchants to accept cryptos and not even know or care what cryptos are is a huge step for mainstream adoption. The company is also working on providing settlements in US dollars, which they claim will become available in the near future. There's a new easy way to get Potcoins if you already have other cryptos. ShapeShift.io is an amazingly simple and anonymous way to get Potcoins. Unlike an exchange, there is no registration, no usernames or passwords or emails or anything personally identifiable. As awesome as the service was, it got even better. Now they have an app in the iTunes App Store, and an Android app is in the works. I tried it out last week after meeting the creator, Eric Voorhees. It works fast. It only took about 2 minutes. The interface is ultra minimal and super simple. You just pick what coins you have and what coins you want, tell it the address to send to, and it generates a deposit address. There is hardly any markup on the trade. I noticed it was almost the same as the current rate on Cryptsy. This service provides a much needed bridge between cryptos that totally bypasses the fiat banking system and other crypto exchanges. Denver's favorite pot activist, Mason Burt, is at it again. He was one of the major players in drafting and passing Amendment 64, and now he's looking for a place to smoke. There's a huge lack of places to legally consume pot. Burt is heading an effort to allow private businesses to offer such a place. While it's legal to buy and have pot, tourists are having the hardest time actually smoking it. I'm a fairly conservative stoner, and I don't think that out on the street or in a public park is the most appropriate place to smoke up. But unfortunately, the city has been extremely inactive about the issue. The proposal that they're working on would allow existing bars, clubs, and venues to dedicate 21 and older spaces to indoor vaping and outdoor, out of public sight smoking. Assistant City Attorney David Broadwell said the petition would have to be signed, sealed, and delivered by September 3rd in order to appear on the November ballot. So with a little over 2 months to get this done, they are very optimistic that this will happen. The Canadian Senate is warming up to Bitcoin. They have decided to let Bitcoin do its thing with little government interference. After about a year of deliberation, they've put out a report that says, this technology requires a light regulatory touch, almost a hands-off approach. In other words, not necessarily regulation, but regulation as necessary. While this seems promising, it is just a bunch of words. Over the next few months, we'll see what that means in application and in practical reality. Financial technology startups are moving to Asia and Africa. An increasing number of companies are seeking to avoid restrictive and oppressive regulation by getting away from developed nations and instead focusing on the developing world. The main focus of most startups is currently person-to-person digital transfers and international remittance. Cryptos have a great chance of leapfrogging legacy banking in these places, the same way that they skipped landline phones and went straight to cell phones. It seems more likely that the killer app everyone's been waiting for will come out of Zimbabwe rather than New York. Government-promoted encryption. Is it April Fool's in June? I read this article about the US government promoting encryption, and I'm so confused. As always, the link to the article is in the description below. If anyone has read or would like to read this, please comment and let me know if it's real. Supposedly, there's a massive campaign that the government is wasting millions on to inform and encourage the use of privacy tools and encryption. This comes shortly after the USA Freedom Act passed. For those not familiar with it, the Freedom Act says that the NSA will no longer collect data on citizens, but instead it forces telecoms to collect and store that information and make it available upon request. So now the telecoms are forced to spy on you and forced to store that data for the government. The Freedom Act was a big enough joke in itself, but now this encryption thing is even funnier. Hillary Clinton was quoted saying, "We really wanted citizens to seriously reconsider the trust they're putting in ISPs like Comcast, Time Warner, and AT&T. We thought this legislation would send a clear message that American telecoms cannot be trusted." Fucking what? The government can't be trusted, and now they're forcing telecoms to be untrustworthy. Am I the only one that thinks there would be no problems if the government just stopped creating problems? But it gets better. The NSA, the National Security Agency, won't collect your data, but the NSAC, National Security Analysis Center, still will because they're exempt from that regulation. So, in the end, nothing is different except that now the government is forcing ISPs to violate your privacy. And still, there's even more. White House Press Secretary Josh Earnest said, "Everyone knows that early government spying was enabled by telephone lines. This was relatively easy because they were considered public utilities, and therefore under government control. So we did the same thing with internet cables to try to wake people up to the serious need for encryption." Are you fucking shitting me? They're claiming that this was on purpose for our own good. It's like an abusive parent violently and viciously beating a child and saying, "This is for your own good and this hurts me more than it hurts you." But the straw that broke the camel's back was the quote from Obama. That corrupt lying piece of shit said, "We considered encouraging a whistleblower to come forward about what's really going on at NSAC. I was so pleased when Snowden did the same for the NSA." If that asshole was so pleased with Snowden, then why did they have the media stop using the term whistleblower and started calling him a traitor and a terrorist? And why is Snowden still hiding out in Russia? Did I get got? Did I fall for a fake article? Or has the world gone completely insane and not even bother trying to fake sanity anymore? Again, let me know in the comments below. That's it for this edition of Mad PotCoins. Smoke 'em if you got 'em.